Hello, everyone. Welcome to the latest edition of Rock and Roll Confessional. I'm Rita Wild.
I'm CW West.
Well, CW, I hope you've been good.
This episode is with Live Nation Concerts' Rich Best. Rich is the president of Live Nation Booking California. And Rich chats with us about the concert business, how Live Nation is moving forward to create live shows again. And he also tells us about Crew Nation, the charity that has been helping those affected by COVID-19 during the shutdown of concerts.
Plus, he talks about putting together the Vax Live concert,
Which you went to.
Oh, I know. So exciting to talk about that. The Ohana Festival, which I love. Classic East-West show at Dodger Stadium, and so many more exciting things. I love it when good people who love what they do are in good positions, you know?
Yeah. And this is definitely one of them.
Yeah, let's give it a listen. Here we go with our interview with Live Nation's Rich Best.
Talking about Vax Live last weekend.
Yes, I was there.
Let me tell you, that was I have my day job, which I'm doing right now. And then I had my other full-time job, which was 6 weeks of Vax Live.
Oh my God. Well, we can talk about that. That's cool.
So,
all right. Good. I know you don't have that much time, and your time is precious. So let's get to it. Thank you so much for doing this. We're talking with Rich Best.
He's the president of Live Nation Booking LA. Is that correct?
Actually, Live Nation booking for all of California now.
All right. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Soon you can do the whole United States, and then you'll have absolutely no personal time.
Exactly.
I kind of wanted to start off by just kind of getting your background and how you how you got into the business.
Right on. Well, look, I started, pretty much, my entry into the business, and it's not a fully an uncommon story, but I absolutely had plans of being a rock star. That was going to be it. I was going to sing for a band. I was going to be famous. I was going to be rich until I wasn't. So until some of the extracurriculars that came along with that of that period of my life and those dreams, they railroaded that a little bit. But look, so I've been a music person my whole life. Played in bands, originally from Minneapolis, Minnesota. That's where I was born. I was raised. I lived 37 years of my life there. Started my family there, and that's where those rock and roll dreams of being on stage started, and that's also where my career in the business side of it began as well. So started wanting to be a rock star. That didn't work out, but had this passion and had some great opportunities. It's kind of a funny story. A friend of mine, she worked at First Avenue nightclub in Minneapolis. I'm sure everybody's seen Purple Rain, First Avenue. It's the club, still is the club, one of the clubs in Minneapolis. She was doing kind of like just, kind of low level marketing and promotions there. Basically, she made flyers for shows on a copy machine in like a little broom closet. Brought tickets to, it's back when you did hard tickets and you bring them to the stores.
And the stores would sell them.
The stores would sell them. So that was her job. And she had an opportunity to go on tour with Motley Crue and Rat as their, see Rita Shea, you probably at that show in LA. For sure. And do wardrobe for him. And she was like, I think he'd be really good at that. And I was like, I need a job. I think I'd be really good at it too.
It's the money part.
Exactly. So that's probably 1988, 89, 88 probably. Yeah, 88 or 89, somewhere in there. And that's where I started. I started at First Avenue nightclub, and I spent probably 8, 9, 10 years there. And that's really, I started literally in a closet making copies, and from there just started booking local bands in the small room, started doing regional stuff, and that's kind of where it all began. Some of my my biggest relationships today are from artists that I booked in the early 90s at First Avenue.
That's great. You could keep those relations.
Yeah. And that's such an important part of the business too, isn't it? Relationships.
No, look, it's everything. Look, I'm not exactly the sharpest tool in the shed. I barely graduated high school. So what I have made my career on is those relationships and relationships and hard work. But at the end of the day, it's about those relationships, relationships and mentors. And I've been very fortunate to maintain those relationships with those artists and develop new ones, but also had great mentors along the way.
Yeah, so important. What was it? What music, what band, what song just grabbed you and said, this is what I want my life to be? What were you into when you wanted to be a rock star? What was the first thing that captured you?
Early on, I was definitely, hard rock guy, for sure. Early, and this is, late 70s, really early 80s, the AC/DCs, Zeppelin was big in my world, for sure. And those things never left. I definitely just call it the times, call it my friends, call it just the energy of it. I definitely, more of some of the darker new wave stuff that eventually led into, for me, a lot of punk rock stuff for sure. Definitely ventured sort of back into some of the rock stuff in the late. It was a little bit of everything, but I will say, my love of music, probably obsession with it, probably Zeppelin for sure. What made me want to be a rock star? Seeing some of the bands that were kind of coming out in the late 80s, like early Jane's Addiction shows, things like that. It just looked and felt and sounded bigger in life, and were sort of that big rock star look, just that command where all eyes were on. That was it for me, for sure.
What kind of shows are you booking now? Give us an idea of what kind of shows you're putting together.
My oversight is 500 seats to stadiums. Most of the stuff that I'm working on personally are, big arena, amphitheater, stadium type shows. I work on a few festival projects as well that I'm really passionate about. Yeah, that's sort of my promoter focus of me personally. Those, I for the most part live in that sort of arena, stadium, amphitheater world with some unique festivals as well.
When it's a completely open table, how do you go about deciding how to put a show together? Whether it's 50 bands or it's 4 top bands, what is the first step you take to figure out, like, okay, I'm going to work for this, and then start filling in all the pieces?
Great question. Look, much of what we do is sort of artists that are going on tour, that they're getting ready. They're going on tour. They've got their support. They're going to do 30 dates. They put a record out. Maybe they haven't. So a big portion of my job is really on sort of the buy and negotiate side of that. That's where a lot of the heavy lifting is. What I'm really passionate about now is sort of that artist curation, finding those unique opportunities outside of the, call it the normal day-to-day, we're going to go do 30 tour, go do 30 cities. Ohana is a great example of that. That is a relationship. And again, it goes back to relationships that we talked about earlier. Pearl Jam for me, that is, one of my earliest and most important relationships. And it is today. And that having that opportunity to really create with the artist, Eddie Vedder's our partner in the truest sense on that. He curates the lineup with us. He's involved literally in every single aspect, and that's the piece that I get the most joy out of right now. We had another one earlier in the month. Very different genre of music, but created a really unique opportunity for a band called Rufus Du Sol. We're playing it at Bank of California, which is the soccer stadium here. Big artists in their own right, for sure. LA is a very special market for them. And we really just sort of took away all the traditional rules, and we talked about creating and having a blank canvas, and being partners, like building something together. And the end result of it was wildly successful. The shows haven't played, we're well over 60,000 tickets over 3 shows in November. Yeah, those are the things that excite me. Working with the younger generation and helping them as I was helped, but creating those sort of unique artist experience. Any opportunity to work closer with the artist, I find myself gravitating to.
The industry and everything kind of went through a big speed bump. It seems like slowly we're starting to get ourselves back together. What was life like for you during the pandemic?
Speed, good way to put it. Speed by.
Well, you have a job.
Yeah, look, I am beyond grateful for that. I do not take that. That's one thing in my life that I try never to take for granted. This is a privilege. I mean, I get out of bed each day and pinch myself. I'm somebody who barely graduated high school, and I promote rock concerts for a living and make a pretty good living. And I work for a great company that allows me to do that. So I'm not remiss of that at any point in the day. Yeah, this has been something else this past year. At times scary, for sure, the uncertainty. But one of the things that I think has come out, and hopefully it has, and I say this often, but anybody who hasn't used this time to grow personally and professionally, what a missed opportunity. The only time you can really, in our business, when you're churning and burning and cranking out hundreds and hundreds of shows, that you could really you would need a total stoppage of the industry, really slow down and reassess it. And that's what we were given. So it definitely, for me, I try to carry that mantle of hope and optimism. And it's not a question of if we're coming back, it's only a question of when. Sometimes it was heavy to lift that, but you push through, and we did. And we are coming back. We are returning to live, and that is it's huge. It's not a question of when now. It's we're back, and we have a path, and that is, man.
That's the light at the end of the tunnel. It's the saving grace. It's like, that's what everybody's waiting for. I think one of the hardest things, not being able to see family and stuff like that, but that was, certainly hard. But, the thing that people missed was that interaction, that live concert feel. It was huge. And a lot of people that we know also work in the industry, so they were affected. A lot of people that are used to going out on the road with bands for, 200 days a year, everything just shut down. You guys started Crew Nation. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, again, this goes to all of the company that I'm blessed to work for. I mean, obviously, and you hit it. I mean, the tentacles and the effect on this. They were everywhere. The road crews, some of these young bands, that were, literally they were paying their rent by playing club gigs. It impacted everywhere. And look, Crew Nation was an initiative at the highest place in our company to really do something meaningful and give back to the people that on the live music side that really needed it. The road crews, the caterers, the guitar tech. I think we're somewhere between $15 and $20 million that we have, that we've distributed, and it just makes me just incredibly proud to work for a company with a soul like that.
Yeah, that's so important. Oh.
Yeah, and look, and I heard from people without even knowing, heard from people that I've known for 20 years, 30 years. Hey, I got one of those, one of the grants, and it helped.
Good.
It helped. It was meaningful, and hearing that stuff was, it was big. It was big.
Another thing that you mentioned that you were working with was Vax Live. How involved were you with that?
So look, obviously, the Vax Live concert took place at SoFi Stadium, May 2nd. It's all a blur to me right now.
6 months later.
It's only May, and I think the whole year's a blur. May 2nd, and then broadcast on all the networks last Saturday on the 8th. It was a project that, again, my big boss tapped me and said, "Need you front and center on this one." What an important day.
Yeah.
It was, we have a deep relationship with Global Citizen and their team. They just do so much good. But being a part of the first real major event of bringing fully vaccinated people into a real concert experience is powerful. It was powerful for the artists. It was powerful for the audience. I mean, there was something special going on for sure.
And plus, it was a big display for SoFi Stadium, this new stadium that so many people hadn't seen in a concert setting.
Great rollout.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, and again, that was sort of a big light on this is what we're coming back to. This is what we're coming back on. Get those shots in arms. Yeah,
people.
Rich, how is Live Nation looking at booking venues right now for the situation? I mean, is there really a starting point of like, okay, we're only going to book from August on at this point? And how are the venues going to be booked? Is it, everyone has to be vaccinated?
Well, look, so much of, I will say this, so much of our organic pipeline of tours had sort of started as we couldn't see that sort of that opening. It had sort of kind of shifted, some of it even all the way into 2022, but certainly kind of shifted in that sort of third quarter, fourth quarter. So we're sort of much of our activity, certainly here in California, is sort of that third quarter, fourth quarter. But really, it's we're coming online. We're a global company, and we're coming online at different phases and in different looks all over the world. But here in the U.S., we are booking shows, and first and foremost, every state, county, city guideline. I mean, it is, we do not veer from it. Period. That is the baseline. There are parts of the country right now where we have the ability to do full scale concerts in various settings, and we're doing that. In California, it's looking very promising. Very promising. June 15th is a big day.
Yes.
But we expect that you'll start seeing shows as we've once seen them before. Probably in July from us for sure. And again, it's going to vary on what those requirements are. I think certainly here in California we'll have a lot more guidance on that. But the exciting thing is that there is a clear path to gathering as we've gathered before, and seeing it in the environments that we have before. And I think that it will be as communal as it's ever been.
One show that you had on the books already, you just announced this past week, is coming back. And my God, the lineup for Ohana Festival is just killer. Amazing. Congratulations on that. So now, is that completely sold out? So everybody, or maybe can you go like another weekend or something like that? Please.
We went on. We have a few, just a couple of tickets left for the Friday night, but I anticipate they're going to be gone today and tomorrow for sure.
That's Kings of Leon that night, correct?
Yeah.
So it's that's a special day of music. The whole weekend. Look, we couldn't be, just if you're coming back, that was a good flag to put in the ground. I mean, the collection of artists,
Black Pumas, they're awesome. I love that band.
Talking, one of my colleagues who she is really involved in booking it, and we kind of had that moment, late in the day yesterday after it launched, and kind of looked at each other and we're like, man, lineup. We're pretty proud of it. We're pretty proud of it.
Should be.
But look, I mean, that for us, our goal all along was, man, if we can just make sure that we're going by the time Ohana plays, we can be okay with this year. We're going to figure it out. And as it turns out, it turns out that we're going to be in front of that for sure. So
that's so excellent. Such a beautiful place, beautiful, wonderful area to put on a show. And
it's down by the beach for those of you that aren't familiar.
Doheny Beach. Yeah.
Doheny Beach.
Yeah.
Place Eddie Vedder learned how to surf right there.
Is that right?
Right there. That beach,
my God.
that wave.
I'm still learning.
Right on.
So, Rich, when you put that show together or any show, are you keeping in mind, here's what we want to charge for a ticket price? Or are you putting the show together first and then saying, do you determine the ticket price, or somebody else then come in and go, here's what we're going to charge? How does that portion work? And how do you have a budget for such a thing?
Look, for a show like that, really, Eddie Vedder's our partner, so we collaborate literally on every single aspect. So for us, it starts with the artists, with the artist. One of our it is a core value of the festival. It's certainly a core value of mine, and I think the company, for sure, is without the artist, without the audience, we don't have jobs. So we start there, and everything from there sort of builds. We know. Each year we do a postmortem off of an event like that and kind of go through, we talk about, operationally, where are the elements that we think that we need to fix? Do we need to put some additional resources behind that for our next year? Maybe, some different video in different portions of the site, could be something, something, unique backstage that we had an aha moment that we'd like to do. So we really start there. And then we go into the artist curation side. Our capacity is unique. We're 15,000 a night. There's only so much, you're limited to. But look, we tried from a pricing standpoint, we know where we kind of, where we certainly, we're certainly not on the higher side of the industry, but we also, certainly, have something that's pretty unique, pretty special. We sort of build the show and figure out what do we need to charge for it, to certainly pay for it and hopefully make a couple bucks when it's all said and done.
Hopefully. Feel like your job.
You've got the most excellent torchbearer for that, the Ohana Festival, because you've got Eddie Vedder, playing solo by himself, and then also with Pearl Jam. But Eddie and Pearl Jam are one of those bands that really relate to like the classic rock generation, and they're holding the torch open for the younger folks coming up, because let's admit they've been in the business now 20, 30 years now themselves.
Okay, it is now time for an official break from the show.
All right.
Thank you, Patreon sponsors. Yes, all of you that have been kind enough to give us a small pledge a month. We thank you for becoming a groupie, a roadie, a rock star, and supporting the podcast by making that pledge. If you can do it, we appreciate it very much. We have a lot of bills to pay, believe it or not, and as little as $1 a month, you can support us. Please go to Patreon, and if you do, search Rock and Roll Confessional, or go to the support tab on our website, rockandrollconfessional.rocks, and give as little as $1. It's like half a bag of M&Ms. You know, M&Ms are like $1.99 now.
Are they really?
Yeah. So it's like half a bag. It's like giving us 8 M&Ms. That's like, I think that's all that's in there. So, but don't give us the M&Ms. Don't send us M&Ms.
Because we don't want the green ones. Anyway, it's about that time of the show that we ask this trivia question.
Yeah.
And today it's one that's going to cause a lot of you to think maybe or maybe not, or just guess. The trivia question is, name 5 of the top 10 bands for the most successful tours of all time. It's based on gross revenue. I'll give you a hint. Starts around 2005 and forward. Because, back in the old days, even so Live Aid was a big sellout and all that kind of stuff. They didn't charge as much for tickets. So think
Right.
later years.
So it wasn't the big David Cassidy tour at the Hollywood Bowl?
No, did you go to that?
I was not down here at that time.
Let's talk about some of the other interesting things that we talked to Rich Best with as we continue Rock and Roll Confessional. Another festival that you were involved with was East West, Classic East West at Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, that was a fun one. That was really fun. I mean, look, anytime you can put a collection of artists like that, I mean, that was special. That was really.
Yeah, I'm getting goosebumps on that one.
Yeah, that was a really
because
special few
that
days.
was like the first appearance of the Eagles without Glenn Fry. And that was huge. I mean, that was
emotional, just
my God.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And to have it at Dodger Stadium was just amazing and beautiful. I loved.
There was Fleetwood Mac, Steely Dan, Journey. Who were some of the others? That was all
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Headliners.
Earth, Wind and Fire,
Doobie Brothers,
Doobies. I mean, that was a ripper, man.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll tell you what, there's not a person that went there that did not feel that from an entertainment dollar standpoint. I mean, it was sing-along hit after sing-along hit after sing-along hit. Yeah, that was fun. That was a special one for sure.
Yes, and then I mean, having Earth, Wind, and Fire there too. I mean, that was beautiful. I think that was like Sunday afternoon, and it was like, man, look at all these white people dancing. It's great. It was great to see.
For real. I mean, they were first act on that day, and it was early. The place was pretty full, and it was rocking. And you don't see that a whole lot, especially in LA.
No,
we're tainted.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. But that was real special. And then, of course, you did that at City West also, I guess the company did also. But any other plans to bring something like that back again since that worked so well?
That's the fun stuff, man. That's the fun stuff. And absolutely. Look, one of the things that, and again, we talked about those artist curations, those, creating those unique experiences, those unique events, more and more we're seeing, and it's exciting that artists are looking for different ways to present themselves and to try different things. I mean, we're pretty active in the residency space, not me personally, but our company in Las Vegas. And you're seeing bands there that are doing long residencies that you wouldn't have seen 10, 15, 20 years ago, to things like uniquely curated events, like, the classic series. So we're looking to do more and more of those things. And we have to, it's for us, it's those things, give us the opportunity to grow and to diversify and to continue having, just a deeper relationship with the artist and just do cool shit, do cool shit.
A lot of this time during the pandemic, people have been doing these live living room concerts or something like that. What about the future of that? Do you see more and more of that happening? Or do you think that everybody really just wants to get back and play live in front of people?
Honestly, look, I'm going to embarrass myself. I'm not the most tech savvy person. So like, we even had a few little streams that I was in panic mode. Okay, how do I do this? You're
not alone.
Yeah.
But look, one thing that I think we found is that it was a really important piece of keeping us together and keeping the light on, for sure. And the thing that I do see is I think that as an industry, we learned a lot in it, and I think today that nothing will ever replace the live experience.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the stream portion of it has an opportunity to broaden it, maybe expand the tail a little bit, but nothing will ever replace live. I think that they live together. I think it will just be an extension of that live thing. So I think you're going to see it's not going away, and I think you're going to see it as a part of just the overall arms of live music. Being able to go back and look at archives. I'll tell you this, there's, if I had prepped, I could have given you 10 shows that I would pay so much money to experience again. And if I
For
had just
example,
see it on live, just to feel it again, man, that's a value to me. I'd want to see the first time I saw Jane's Addiction in the 7th Street entry in Minneapolis. I'd pay to do that. I'd watch it often. You'd probably see me jumping off the stage. Yeah.
Going back to the pandemic and coming out of the pandemic, there were a lot of shows that were canceled, a lot of big shows that were canceled. With now everything getting back into place, are you guys worried that of now the oversaturation of shows, because you've got everyone making up and then you've got all these people that have been putting out albums and that were ready to tour? So it kind of seems like to me there's going to be a lot of shows that are going to be available, and can the market handle it?
Well, look, I think that's a question that is, as a company and really as an industry, as you've seen live music go up like this every year. There's more and more shows, more and more opportunities, yet the business and the appetite grows and grows and grows. I know for me personally, I stopped questioning whether the market can support it, because I was proven wrong every time. The market can support it. The market can support it. I think our challenge, and certainly, next year will be, I've been doing this a few days, and next year it will be busy. It'll be exciting. There's going to be a lot. Our challenge is probably just, finding really that spacing, of genres, and, you try to find that balance. So, that the country fan doesn't have, 27 country shows to go to in 30 days. You try to spread that entertainment dollar out. And, I think that we do a good job of that next year.
Awesome. Some exciting stuff.
It's going to be fun.
Can you mention anything or give us any preview of like shows upcoming, or will there be festivals again? That sort of thing next year, or like, East West, or you got Ohana Festival.
Look, I think you'll see a lot in stadiums. I can share that with you. I think you'll see really big stadium shows, some really diverse stadium shows, really exciting stuff for sure. But look, so many major artists are touring. Have me back a little bit. I'll give you a little more of a sneak peek. But
okay, I can't wait.
Do you have a favorite venue that you either like to see a show in or book a show into?
Man, that's a tough one. I have favorite. Speaking California, I like that intimate, just me. I love the intimacy of seeing live music, and the more intimate a venue feels, I find myself gravitating to it for sure. The state in California, we have some unbelievable venues, just unbelievable venues. The Forum, as I say often, they spend a bunch of money the right way. It is an unbelievable arena to see live music in, because that's what it was built for.
I just remember in the old days, like going to the Forum, it was like always so big, so huge, and then you went to Staples and it's like, wow, the nice, comfy confines of the Forum, it's just like.
Yeah, look, and it's just, we do a lot of shows at Staples as well, and have a great relationship. It's a fantastic facility. It's, it's absolutely a destination place for fans to gather. It's a great building, for sure. I love the Hollywood Palladium. I'm not gonna lie, I love the Hollywood Palladium. It is that's something else. Look, around the country, Red Rocks might be the most unique spiritual thing I've ever seen in my life. That's pretty special. I will say this: as new venues come along, there's more and more thought being put into especially multi-use venues. How do we approach the live music aspect as not just an afterthought in our plan, but kind of front and center, not just incremental, but like whether it's in a building that has a sports team, it's okay. How do we be the best basketball arena? but how do we be the best in class live music? And look, for many years that those two things didn't really necessarily always meet. And I think a lot more consideration now is being thought of. How can we make this acoustically a great experience for the audience and the artist? How can we make the amenities turnkey? How can we make this venue feel as close and intimate as we possibly can? And that I think we're starting to see. And then over probably the next 10 or 15 years, we're really going to see just an incredible evolution in that venue experience. I was one of the, and it's not online yet, but there's the new theater on the SoFi campus.
Mm-hmm.
It is, and I'm not just saying this, it's the nicest 6,000 seat theater I've ever seen in my life.
God, I didn't know there was another theater there.
Yeah. It's a beautiful complex. I mean, it's like a spaceport. I think that's what David Letterman called it at Vax Live. Sure. It looks like a spaceport. I mean, it looks like from the future, and the sound was so good. Usually I'll always carry earplugs with me. I didn't need them.
Nice.
I got to tell you, it caught everybody in the stadium. It caught everybody by surprise. Like, man, this, because
that was the first show, right?
First show, yeah. First show.
It was supposed to be
Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Way back when.
First show. Yeah. So, but the new theater there it's look, if you guys remember Gibson Amphitheater, which was my, I will tell you this, you're going to walk in and go, it's Gibson Amphitheater. I mean, it only, honestly, and I'm not, it even has better sight lines. It's more intimate. It is, you guys are going to flip. You're going to flip. Yeah.
What's it called?
Right now, it's called the Performance Venue.
Okay. As soon as naming rights take over.
Sounds like that's going to change.
Yeah. And look, we have shows on sale there. You can refer to it as the Performance Venue at Hollywood Park. If you find any snippets in there, it's really special. You'll dig it. But it will be called something officially in a month. So.
In an interview in Polestar about 5 years ago, Rich, you mentioned fan experience and how you thought in 5 years it was going to be much more elevated. Has that happened to where you thought it was going to be? And what is it that you wanted to create in the fan experience?
Good question. Look, look, the evolution continues. It is, I think we're, I can't speak for every venue or every show or every experience, but I certainly can speak to, kind of how we look at it at Live Nation, and certainly in the venues that we control and find ourselves gravitating to, with third-party buildings that we work with. What I'll say is that a big area where I've seen the quality of the food offering, the food and drink offering, so much of in the past, when you would go to a concert, it was beer and a hot dog, beer and popcorn.
Yeah.
Well, as people look to how they're spending their advertising dollar, it is, I have to get a babysitter. I have to do all of these things. This may be not only a night at a concert, but it might be the only opportunity that I'm getting a date with my partner in. And I need to kill a lot of birds with one stone. And the food offer, it is even from 5 years ago, 10 years ago, night and day. I can go to any one of our venues and I can eat vegan. I don't, but I could, and it's good. It is so much more thought. It's far more of just a culinary experience, of really good and thought out and well executed and curated food offerings, as well as beverage offerings. I can go to one of our beverages and I can get a big beer in a glass like this, or I can go over to the high-end spirits place and get a shot of Don Julio 1942. And more, that type of experience is available, certainly in our venues, as well as a lot of the other venues that are getting it right. You got to make the most out of that fan experience for the 3, 4, 5 hours that you got them. And, also, just finding more ease in the experience, whether it's, some upgraded products, whether it's, having food through a POS system delivered to your seat, it's just though I don't know how to do that, even if I wanted to.
Technology.
But if I knew how, I could do it.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, look, I think that's super exciting. The other thing too is going with that fan experience is, sort of that commitment to just such quality sound, quality, production. Look, again, Live Nation, we, a big portion of capital dollars has been put into making sure that the Wi-Fi at our venues, so you don't go and you're with 15,000 people and you're like, shit,
I can't get on.
Yeah.
Can't post that photo immediately.
That photo, but and look, that's important, that, because what that does, that posting that photo and being able to do it there, that's a connection. That's a part of that night out, and again, I know our company and the ones that are getting right are going, yeah, we should invest in this, so.
Can you explain a band's writer? And do you deal with writers? I think one of the most famous things that was ever in a writer was the green M&Ms from Van Halen. Is that something when you're dealing with bands, do you have to deal with that, or you deal with the money part and then you get to go away?
Look, look, as a concert promoter, at the end of the day, the buck stops with you, and if something didn't go right, it usually ends up with you, so, I'm fortunate to have just some of the best, concert producers and production managers, around. So they're on the front lines of that. Look, I think, from time to time, you'll see, I don't think they're as fun as they were in the late 70s and certainly the 80s. Those were the good old days. Everybody's just a little older. But look, I mean, you don't see too many crazy things. Socks, for whatever reason, clean socks that's an important thing. We need clean socks. Yep, new socks. Yeah. So that seems to be a common one, but nothing too crazy these days. But
it's kind of like a list of, I don't know, demands is a harsh word, but it's like a list of items that the band is requesting to usually have in their dressing room or something like that. And I know one of them a couple years ago, which we'll actually post on the website because I've got photos of it. What the Foo Fighters had a coloring book that was their writer, so they would give it to the promoter or to the venue, and the venue would go through, and there would be a picture of Dave like not wanting to eat vegan or something like that. So, I think that, they still kind of get crazy out there and have a little bit fun.
Look, there are those bands, and look, I'm fortunate that's one of those artists that I've been working with for a long time. They are creative, they are fun. Those are the writers that you get and you go, oh, I'm up for this.
Yeah,
let's have fun right back. They do it right and they get it for sure. Look, on the writer thing, look, one of the things that I think more and more people are starting, is waste and trying to like, hey, on the writer, are there some things, do you already have 42 unopened jars of peanut butter? Okay, you do, great. So you don't need the peanut butter. Or if the peanut butter is left behind night of show and hasn't been opened, what are we doing with that? Donating those.
Donate it, yeah.
Yeah, things like that. I think that a lot more thought goes into it. But yeah, I do love a good Foo Fighter rider. No question.
Okay, Reeds, go ahead with a bonus round.
What's the biggest misconception people have about your job?
That you get to watch every single show and enjoy it with no problems?
Honestly, you nailed it. Had you asked me 20 years ago, it would have been, actually 20 years ago, there was still the party element. Maybe 15 years ago, oh, it's all drugs, you're partying. No, this is a business. 100% is, look, I wish I could watch more of the show, all of the show. Yes. That is a bummer. That is a misconception.
But if they play multiple nights, then maybe you get that opportunity.
Well, look, for sure. Yes. Look, if those multiple nights, okay, I'm going to see the first half. I'm going to see the second half one night, you know.
Do you have a Spinal Tap moment that happened to you? One of the craziest things that either happened at the show or while booking or...
Okay, well, look, it's Spinal Tap. It's a little bit. It was just, honestly, it was just me being in way over my skis. Okay,
Sure.
And I had the manager of the band, and look, he's one of my best friends now. He's actually the manager of Pearl Jam, a guy named Mark Smith, dear friend. But he at the time was tour managing for Blink-182. This is, I want to say, late 90s, right when they were really popping. And I was with an independent company called Compass Entertainment at the time, prior coming on board. And we did the show at Midway Stadium in St. Paul, minor league ballpark, right? And no infrastructure whatsoever. There were sold a lot of merch, and we were like, yeah, we'll sell the merch for you, right? Totally unprepared, anything like that. So, I mean, we get through it, and then literally it was me, one other person, and their merch person who's still doing it today. We were counting merch on the field. Trucks were gone, buses were gone, stage was down. And it was the three of us counting merch. And it was, man. And that, I mean, it was embarrassing. It was hilarious. We still tell the story today. That was a rough one, but I learned. I never was underprepared from a staffing point again.
And you're still friends.
And we're still friends.
And you can laugh about it.
Yeah, I can laugh about it now for sure.
Well, you have been just such a delight to talk to. We really appreciate you taking your time. Hopefully you can talk Eddie and then to doing like another weekend of Ohana. And I know that you've got the thing, I think in Ashbury Park, right? So
it's one of a good friend of mine, our sister company, C3, and a good friend of mine, Tim Sweetwood, with Danny Clinch, they do that out there, and okay. Knock on wood, it is on my calendar to go. I hear they do a great job, and there's sort of our we're related festivals. I'll say we share a lot of we're different in many, many ways, but we share a lot of the same values. So
that's great.
Very cool.
Well, continued best of luck, and I love your attitude and your ideas, and so happy that good people are in good places, and continue to be. So congratulations to you.
Hey, thank you guys. And this is honestly, it's been a pretty good week. This has been a bright spot. So,
excellent. Good.
Appreciate, doing this. And Rita, I just this is just, I'm old school. I'm a history dude. Hearing your voice now, it's just that is a voice I love hearing,
I'm blessed and I'm grateful. Man. I mean,
you are a legend.
I'm living the dream. Living the dream. Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Rich, thanks so much. I really appreciate your time, and I know it's valuable, and thank you for giving us an hour.
Thank you. Continued best
back
of everything.
Have a good one.
You
okay,
too.
Thank you.
Bye. Reitz, I know you just went to Vax Live. I am just like waiting. I'm cautiously waiting because I really want to go to a show, but it's one of those things of trying to get back into the system and back into the swing of things. So I don't know how soon I'll be going to one, but boy, I miss live music, live concerts.
It was just so nice to be able to see that and to be there and know that you were safe because of the vaccinations. And again, everybody, if you haven't had your vaccination, just get your vaccination so we can all go without a mask and go to a lot of concerts and baseball games and football games and all that good stuff that we love. Do it.
Highlight.
Big
highlight. Yeah. Highlight's coming into the United States soon, I'm sure. Not
good.
Really. So thank you today to Rich Best. I know, Rich, your time is really valuable, and we really appreciate you taking the time to talk with us. So Big thanks to
Absolutely.
you. And a big thank you to Pam Hummel for coordinating the interview and also helping with lots of research. I appreciate that, Pam. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pam.
Go to our website to check out our show notes. There you can find interesting notes on subjects that were talked about in today's show, including links to view the entire Vax Live concert video. It's up there and it is running. So check it out if you didn't see it, which I still haven't seen the whole thing. So I need to go.
We always welcome our new listeners, and thank you for tuning in. I know a lot of you saw a recent article and a lot of you saying, well, how do we do that? And so you and Elizabeth were very good about putting up the links up there on my media.
It happened.
But it was awesome. Please share our social media with your favorite rock friends. We are on Facebook and Instagram, and subscribe to this podcast wherever you listen.
Okay, Rita Wild. This is going to be a long answer, but it's kind of exciting. So give us the question again.
Name 5 of the top 10 bands for most successful tours of all time. I'm going to start off with number 10 and go up. How about we do that?
Okay.
Madonna.
Sweet and Sticky Tour.
Actually, it was Sticky and Sweet Tour, wasn't it?
Oh.
I didn't go.
Sticky and Sweet Tour. I didn't go either.
No Filter Tour, Rolling Stones to 2017. Yeah, I saw that. That was awesome.
Yep.
Metallica Worldwide Tour. That was number 8. Always awesome to see Metallica.
AC/DC Black Ice World Tour 2008. Now, one of the great ones, I have to say, Roger Waters' The Wall Live 2010 to 13.
Yeah, and coming back. So, top 5. Let's see if you went to any of these. Coldplay, Head Full of Dreams Tour. No?
I didn't.
About 523. Is that billion or million?
Million.
Never know these days. Rolling Stones, A Bigger Bang Tour. That was the one they did 2005 to 2007, and that grossed 558 million. Guns N' Roses, number 3, 584 million, with Not in This Lifetime Tour, which will continue, I guess, in some sort of way.
Yeah.
U2 360 Tour, which was all big stadiums and stuff, 736 million. And number 1, believe it or not, Ed Sheeran.
Mm-hmm.
I find that really, really interesting. But he's, everybody loves Ed Sheeran. Doesn't, piss anybody off. And he's got a good voice and he sings good. And
$776 million, 2017 to 2019.
And it was I think that was the plus tour, because he's all into like these little minus. If you get like his guitar or a cymbal is like a minus, plus, and something else.
I don't have any of his guitars.
Well, I don't either, but I just saw a picture of it once.
Okay. Sounds great. Thanks for that research, Reeds. That was great.
Hey, thank you for everything, CW. You are awesome. You deserve a break.
All right, everyone.
Wear your mask. Get your shots.
Have a great couple weeks. We'll be back soon with some more good rock and roll stuff. Take care. Bye.
Bye.